As always, we hope to impart to you some useful automotive information and perhaps provoke some automotive conversation on this hopefully better day weather-wise in the Mohawk Valley. We got a lot of graduations today, so I hope that the rain actually stops as predicted. Things will be a little wet, but hey, no rain's a good thing on graduation day. Congratulate all the graduates this year. It takes a lot of work to graduate, and I had a opportunity this week to go to the 6th grade graduation class at Watson-Williams School, where we gave out our School Safety Patroller of the Year award to a young lady who actually won for the entire Northeast. And she beat out hundreds of other students and from dozens and dozens of schools. And we were very proud that our winner, her name was Snow Light. And Snow is a graduating 6th grader from Watson-Williams, and her essay was the #1 essay of all of them. So congratulations to our local kids, no matter what school you're graduating from. We've got lots of stuff to talk about, but our car care tip of the week, we're going to talk about what happens after a crash. And I will say that we don't talk about this sort of thing too often, but let's face it, part of owning a car and driving a car means eventually you're going to probably end up in some kind of auto collision. And hopefully it's a minor one and nobody's hurt. I mean, that is the most important thing. But certainly it is upsetting to be in a crash of any kind. And we deal with crashes all the time with AAA. We certainly, we send our trucks out. And so, we've over the years have seen a lot of things. And I thought maybe we'd pass on a little bit of that information to you today. Because knowing what to do after the crash can alleviate some of the stress and help you remain calm. Now remember, like anything else in life, until you experience something, you're not sure what to do. You don't practice crashes, right? I mean, do that. And certainly we don't want to practice, what happens after a crash. But there are some things you can do that can help minimize some of the stress. And we're going to talk about the one thing you should never do. But first, we'll talk about the moments after a crash, and you've got your wits about you, and hopefully no one is hurt. But if your car is drivable, the first thing you want to do is move it to a safe spot on the side of the road, so it does not impede traffic. One of the things that I have seen, witnessed, and our drivers have told us, cars just, somebody gets hit, they just stop exactly where they are and they get right out of their car. If you're in the middle of traffic, that could be a dangerous thing to do. Obviously, you're trying to, not make it worse, but you got the first order of business is to get yourself and the vehicle to safety. And that means pulling over. And, again, just don't impede traffic. Move it to a safe spot on the side of the road. Obviously, you want to check to see if anybody's injured and try to assess the severity so you can relay the information to emergency personnel. Obviously, you want to call the police and emergency assistant. Obviously, 911 is the number to call. Certainly, there's easy access to it via your cell phone. And very soon, you're going to be able to send text messages and photographs to 911 on top of everything else. But right now, you certainly can reach them easily, and you can text 911, but obviously in a car accident, I would be calling them. That'd be the preferable way to talk, because they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. When you finish that phone call, you want to write down the license plate numbers of the other vehicles involved in the crash. And if other drivers leave the scene, you'll be able to provide that information to investigators. So if there's 2 cars in there, grab their license plate numbers. Which means the one thing you want to have with you is pencil and paper. A small notepad. And I use the word pencil. An old-fashioned number 2 pencil with an eraser on it. And I'll tell you why. Have you ever grabbed a pen out of your glove box after it's been there for about 2 years? Sometimes they just don't write. And I've seen it numerous times over the years. And you say to yourself, what good is that thing in my glove box if it doesn't write? So I like to put a number 2 pencil in there, a couple of them actually. And this way here, if you want to use a mechanical pencil, that's great. You don't have to worry about the tip breaking off it. But that and a little notepad. And just leave it in the glove box. And you never know what you might also find use for with that, but it's a good thing to have in there. One thing we used to tell people is carry a camera with you. Well, pretty much everybody carries a camera with you. It's called a cell phone. And as a matter of fact, a modern cell phone, if you got one of those brand new fancy Apple or Galaxy phones, for example, those things will take better pictures than a camera for most cameras. So you definitely want to take lots of pictures. And again, you got to do it safely. Take photos of the crash scene and damage of all the cars involved. It's a 2-car accident. Walk around, take pictures of everything. You want to exchange information with the other parties involved. And you want to copy the other's driver's information directly from their driver's license and insurance card to be sure you're getting the accurate information. And of course, you could also take pictures of those items with your cell phone. Again, collecting information is good, and of course, you need to provide your information as well. You'll also need to write down the driver's name, the vehicle's owner's name, the insurance company, the policy number, and the insurance company's phone number. And again, you do the same. If they've got their insurance card, and a lot of times they put it in a plastic little pouch that may or may not photograph well, but you can take a picture and look. If you get a good picture and you can see everything, then you don't have to write everything down. But I would write everything else that I could write down. Gather the names of addresses and phone numbers of any witnesses, and then ask anybody who's there if they saw what happened. They're willing to put their observations in writing. Some people actually write. I've actually seen people who say, "I'll tell you what happened," and they write it down. Because you know what happens a month from now, or 2 months from now, when this information might be very relevant, people have short memories, and they may not remember again. Obviously, when the police come, you want to be courteous and cooperative. You want to tell the truth about what happened. But limit your statements to facts. Don't give any opinions as to fault, and avoid saying "I'm sorry," which could be construed as an admission of guilt. I'm not qualified to give you legal advice, but I will tell you, don't ever give an opinion as to fault. You could say, "Listen, I was driving down the street, this car just ran right through the red light and hit me." Well, that's a fact. You're not blaming anybody, you're just pointing out a fact. But, you want to avoid saying words like "I'm sorry." That could be construed as an admission of guilt. So I would tell you that you just give facts about what happened. Be truthful, but just give facts. The police will collect facts. You also want to make sure you get the name and contact information of the investigating officer and the case number assigned to the accident. They're not going to be able to give you a police report on the spot. Sometimes they can print something out and give it to you, but in many cases you're going to have to get that from their police station, their home office, so to speak, wherever it is. And of course, as soon as you're able, contact your insurance company or agent to report the claim. Provide your insurance company with the information you gathered. And of course, if you're not, obviously, if you're not at fault in the collision, you want to make sure you contact the other driver's insurance company. Remember, of course, the best way to avoid an unfortunate event is to drive as safely as possible within the speed limit and drive very defensively. You want to make sure that you, again, realizing where you're at and what you're doing. But accidents do happen. But again, collect information. Do not admit guilt. Get many pictures. These are all good things to do. And the one thing you should never do, never, 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 is leave the scene of an accident. That is absolutely the worst thing you can do.